By the way, is that even on? That title, not clickbait. Okay, just wait until we get into the video, because y'all know when I comes with receipts. Okay, we bring the receipts, we bring the research. So hope you enjoy. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to a new episode. I know that I feel it in myself, and the proof is in the pudding. I know that I've been sort of MIA. I did want to post a lot more this Ramadan. I had completely different plans for how I was going to approach, my series, keeping you guys updated, vlogging my day-to-day. But as you guys know, we make our plans, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes his own plans. And then at the end of the day, it's his plans that come to fruition. So, alhamdulillah, nevertheless, honestly speaking, you guys, I don't know, something about me posting my Ramadan vlogs, showing you guys what I get up to in the day, come back into my warm house, show you guys what I eat for suhoor, what I break my fast with. That just, alhamdulillah, I'm very grateful for it, but it just doesn't sit right with me, knowing that so many people out there in Palestine, in Sudan, that don't have what I have right now. And I don't know. I don't know. It just feels tone deaf if I was to give you guys that type of content this year. So I don't know if it's something that I'm going to do. Yeah. Even if it's just 5 of you that watch these videos and you find them beneficial and you implement the things that I've spoken about into your daily life, alhamdulillah, I've honestly won, But anyways, let's get into today's video. I wanted to come in here and kind of like remove myself from the whole series, even though this is still part of it, but it wasn't planned. This topic that I'm about to talk about wasn't in the plans that I made, but it's something that, crossed my mind a few days ago, and I was like, this is something that I really have to speak to you guys about, because it's important, especially this Ramadan. We have to take part in things like this. As we all know, every single one of us, me, you, your family members, everybody, we all want closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We all want for him to answer our du'as. We all want for him to be pleased with us. We all want rizq. We all want, every type of good that comes from him. We want it. And our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillah, because it's not a relationship where we have to do something for him in order for him to bless us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses us regardless. If our relationship was the type where, you have to do good for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for him to then bless you, otherwise he'll give you no blessings, a lot of us, we would be in the mud. A lot of us would be struggling. A lot of us would not be breathing. A lot of us would not be able to see. A lot of us would not, so many other blessings that we just overlook that, if it was taken away from us, you'd feel it. Like if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took away my ability to see, I would 100% see it. But he gave it to me. I didn't ask him for it, So we don't have that type of relationship. He blesses us regardless. However, there are things that we can do, to get Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to answer our du'as faster, because that's what every single person wants. We want rizq, every type of rizq, we want it. And I had already spoken about one of these things that we can do on my channel. If you scroll down, it will be there, where I was basically saying to you guys that, doing istighfar, saying astaghfirullah, implementing that into your life will open up a lot of doors for you, doors for rizq, everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he's more likely to, grant you your dua as fast as you want if you're someone that implements that into your life. But there is also something else, and that thing, and I think this is perfect timing, honestly, because during Ramadan. I mean, we have to do it anytime is perfect, but during Ramadan is when we do all the extras, is when we want to get the most out of it. So that thing is to give sadaka, charity. Giving sadaka to people is something, when done with the right intentions, I believe it's something that is honestly so pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I am a strong believer that there has been times in my life where maybe sadaqah was the thing that made things easier for me. Sadaqah will 100% help you when it comes to you being in hardships, difficulties, or any trials and tribulations. If you're someone that gives sadaqah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make a way for you. So if you're someone that, there's something that you want from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or maybe there's a dua that you have been making, I don't know, you want provision of any kind, you want marriage, you want His forgiveness, you want a job, you want closeness to Him, you want financial freedom, I'm here to tell you that as well as you doing istighfar, add on top the act of giving sadaqah. But when you do it, you make the intention of, I'm only doing this fi sabilillah, I'm doing this for the sake of Allah, and I want Him to be pleased with me. The more you give, the more you get. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Saba, truly my Lord enlarges the provision for whom He wills of His slaves, and also He restricts it for him. And whatsoever you spend of anything in Allah's cause, He will compensate it, and He is the best of providers. Just for you guys to see the importance of giving sadaqah, and how I'm not just saying that, if you give sadaqah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open up doors of rizq for you. I'm not just saying that, it's the truth. And I have a hadith, okay, that I want to read for you guys, where sadaqah was the thing that helped these people come out of the difficulty and the hardship that they were in. They were able to ask Allah, say to Him, Ya Rab, do you remember the time where I did this thing? And if you believe that I did that thing just for your sake, help me out. Okay, let's get into it. So this hadith, Sahih al-Bukhari, it narrates the story of three men. Three people that were on a journey together, and they were hit by a storm. They decided to find shelter in a cave. But when they got into the cave, a rock came down from the mountain and blocked the entrance, so they were not able to exit. So one of them turns around to the rest and he says, the only way for us to be delivered from this situation that we're in is to seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the three men decide that they will turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they will seek His help. And the way that they decided to do that is by making dua to Allah, but in that dua, by reminding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of a time where they did good and they did it only for His sake, and using that to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to, remove the rock from the entrance. So I'm going to read, I don't think I'll read all the stories, but I'll read maybe one or two. Okay. So one of the men turns to Allah and he said, "O Lord, I hired some laborers and paid them their dues, but one of them left, leaving behind what was due to him. I invested it in the business, and the business prospered greatly. After a while, the laborer came back and said, O servant of Allah, hand over to me my wages. I said to him, all that you see here is yours, the camels, the cattle, the goats, and the slaves. He said, don't play with me, O servant of Allah. I assured him, I'm not joking. So he took all of it, sparing nothing. O Lord, if I did this seeking only for your pleasure, then please do relieve us from distress." So this is one of the men saying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I was in this situation where, I could have tricked this man, I could have kept his money, but because of you, I didn't keep the money. And on top of that, I even gave him a lot more. So if you believe in the time where I did this, if my intention was correct, please relieve us from this situation that we're in. Then another man as well turns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he says, "Oh Lord, I had a cousin that I loved more passionately than any man could ever love a woman. I tried to seduce her, but she would refuse. Till in a season of great hardship due to famine, she approached me for help, and I gave her 120 dinars on the condition that she would have sexual intercourse with me. She agreed, and when we got together, I was just going to have intercourse with her. She pleaded, 'Fear Allah, and do not break this seal unlawfully.' Whereupon I moved away from her, despite the fact that I desired her the most passionately, and I let her keep the money I had given her. O Lord, if I did this thing seeking only your pleasure, then do move this distress in which we find ourselves in." The thing that I want to highlight here is just for you guys to see how amazing our Rabb is, because when you do good for any human being, I'm pretty sure it's even haram, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala despises it when you turn around and remind that person of the good that you did for them. I'm pretty sure it's something that is despised, for you to be like, "I did that for you, I did that for you, I did that for you," But in this case, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it comes to charity, if there's a deed that you've done with the intention of, I did this just for you, my Lord, and you find yourself in a situation of hardship, or there's a dua that you want answered, there is something that you want, you can use that. I can say to Allah, "Ya Rab, do you remember the time when I did that thing that only me and you know about? If you believe that I did that only for your pleasure, please answer this dua." I can do that, and you don't have to feel guilty because He subhanahu wa ta'ala said that you can do it. This act is actually called Tawassul. And I also want to make something clear here. Did you guys notice how every single one of the men stuck in that cave, before they finished their dua, they made sure to put the condition in there to to say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, "Only you know my intention. And if you judge my intention and you find that my intention was correct, it was only for you, then please do it." Because, sometimes we do things and our intention is not right. So what I want to say here is that, make sure that what you're doing is for the sake of Allah. When you give someone sadaka, don't let it be for anything else but for Allah's pleasure. You're not doing it so people can be like, "Oh my God, like she gave this, she gave that." You're doing it for the sake of Allah. And I also want to say that whenever we hear sadaka, whenever we hear charity, we think straight away of money. And a lot of the times that, throws people away because not all of us has money spare to give. But I want to remind you and remind myself that sadaka, charity, is not just giving people money. Sadaka is you being kind to your family members. Sadaka is you doing your mother a favor, and before you do it, saying to yourself, "Ya Allah, I'm going to do this because of you, and because I love my mom, and because I want to please my mom, and if my mom is pleased with me, you will be pleased with me." That is sadaka. Sadaka is you being kind to animals. Sadaka is you doing anything for anyone for the sake of Allah. Sadaqah is, sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send people your way that are in some kind of situation, and they say to you, "Aisha, I'm in this situation, are you able to help me with this and that?" And you do it for the sake of Allah. And sometimes, you might even be in a situation where you don't have a lot yourself, but let me tell you, the times where you don't have a lot and Allah sends someone to you for you to help them, and you do it, there will also be a time where you need, and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can help you. And because of that act that you did, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make things easy for you. And you can use this, to ask Allah to answer your du'as, especially during this Ramadan. Like, I know so many of us, there's so many things that we want, so many du'as that we've been making for so long. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, held it back because He knows best. His timing is the best timing at the end of the day. But you can use things like this. Ask Him, "Ya Allah, please give me this, please grant me this, please open up the doors for this, please do that for me. Because when it's easy to give, we can give, like you feel no way, and you still will be rewarded for it. But it's when things are tough for you. And I really do want to highlight this because, I've been in these situations where, maybe you may not have a lot, but Allah sends someone your way for you to help them. And I think those are the best times for you to decide and be like, I'm going to give it to you anyways, because provision is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also, nobody ever gives. I will not take anything, my money, my actions, and give someone else for the sake of Allah, in which I will end up in a situation where I've now lost. It's never a loss for you. It's never a loss. But anyways, this is what I wanted to say. We're in Ramadan. Give charity, whatever it is that you can do. And like I said, charity is not just giving money. Charity is your acts, everything that you do for the sake of Allah. Anyways, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being patient with me, Alhamdulillah, that's all I can say. But it has been difficult, this Ramadan. But at the same time, I know that if I keep pushing, especially because it's difficult on me right now, at the end of the day, I will be the one coming out winning. So, alhamdulillah, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was beneficial for you. Please keep me, you guys ask me to keep you in my du'as, and I will, but keep me too in your du'as. I'm begging you, keep me too in your du'as,